Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, the dope ass dude, and I am so excited to be out for the season finale of season 6 of the podcast. So I'm really excited to be here with you on tonight and excited about what we are going to be talking about because you know Jerry, he always bring the heat. So I'm excited to have this brother on the podcast on tonight. So you already know the preliminary things. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you don't mind going ahead subscribing to the YouTube channel, and while you're there, click on that notification button so you can be notified each and every time a new podcast is uploaded to the site. And then while you're there, go ahead and click on that like on whatever platform you're on so that this podcast can be shared with others just like you. Now, you can follow me on both Instagram and TikTok. On both platforms, you can find me at the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. Again, on Instagram and TikTok, you can find me on at the Dope Ass Dude Podcast. And then for the listeners on the go, if you aren't able to listen to the podcast, you can always catch it on the go, which you can find it on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And again, always a shout out to the on the go listeners because that community is really growing. Thank you for supporting it. Again, that's Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And then last, you can always watch the podcast live whenever we are in season. You can always watch it on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. Right now it's on all four of those platforms. So again, that's Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. And then lastly, if you want to go ahead and follow Jerry while we're here, you know, he is on both Instagram and on TikTok. On TikTok, you can find him at JAT World 125. That's Jerry A. Thompson. So JAT World 125. And on Instagram, you can find him at The Real JAT World. So Instagram, The Real JAT World. So I'm really excited about tonight's podcast because we're going to be recapping this season. I mean, it was a remarkable season, had a lot of great guests on here, and we're going to be giving away a couple of like free things on tonight, free shirts, things that you guys have given me feedback on that you just really love. And we're going to go ahead and get kicked off with one of the first prizes because I don't want to talk too much because I'm going to give away the answer before we get started. So we're going to start with the black shirt. So you guys may remember that this is the black shirt that I wore. I want to say it was episode 8. I wore this shirt, so we're going to give that away. So the question to get that, and we want you to put it in the chat on whatever platform you're on, is what is the theme of season 6? What is the theme of season 6? So drop it in the chat, and because it's been pretty consistent. So if you drop it in the chat, what is the theme of season 6? Y'all thinking about it? Y'all should know this one. Nobody know? Okay, well, nobody know. Maybe nobody want that shirt. Okay, we're gonna go with either one. So let's go ahead and move. Let's see what we got here. Father's Day. No, Omar Naya. No, healing. That was one of the things we talked about, Omar. That's really good. So Marquita said Father's Day. Omar said healing, and Jerry just come in and said he know. Of course, his brother knows. Yeah, he knows. So yeah, so we're gonna give y'all a little bit more time to think about that. But and I may have to change the question because, like I said, I'm gonna give y'all the answer here in a second anyway. But so let's move on from that. Let me go back here. And I'm gonna take that down. So you guys know this is Jerry has been on the podcast. This is his third time. So he's the guest that has been on here the most. I love this brother because he always come on here. And once we leave, I always feel more enlightened just having him on the podcast. So let's go ahead and bring him on out. Jerry, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, man?
So you know the answer, huh?
It's kind of funny, right? I'm surprised if people have been watching the series, if they missed it, you giving away a dope shirt. And I was like, oh, he's doing giveaways. And, I just got new LiveFree gear, but they playing games. I'm not giving nothing to nobody if they out here playing games like this. Hey, and these, like, you can get this stuff, livefreeinspiration.com. You can get these hats, and they are wonderfully embroidered. You can't get them. But y'all playing games. Come on, y'all.
Okay.
I'd give one up.
We got a winner here. So Latoya said breaking free. That is the correct answer. Breaking free. That is the theme.
There you go, Latoya.
There you go, Latoya. Latoya. So DM me on Instagram your address, and you got a shirt on the way. But yeah, so Tyson came right behind Latoya. Sorry, Tyson. Latoya beat you, man. Sorry about that, Latoya. But hey, there you go. There you go. Okay, so Jerry, tell us what's been going on with you, man, since you've been on here.
You know what? So busy. Always a lot of moving around, always a lot of travel. Golf season has started. So I'm out there competing. What else is going on? We'll get into this, man. But I've been in my think tank. I can always feel when a shift is coming. And I was really kind of on my own case for a minute because I'm used to just boom, 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 getting stuff going. But I realized I'm kind of in this period of a reset and getting myself ready for this next sprint that I'm about to do. So we may get to talk a little bit about that, but it's really just factoring, again, as we were talking earlier, what's next? What should I be doing? How do I position my resources? Like I'll say this. If you catch me between January and April the 15th, I may not be in the best mood. And that's because of tax season, right? And Uncle Sam has he got a little ditty in him. That's all I'm saying. He got a little ditty in him. I'm just gonna say, because he be coming for your boy hard. And so I'm always on edge trying to figure that piece out. But then just going through the process, I kind of have like this R&D budget, right? My learning budget, the money that I spend on learning, books, courses, whatever, building things. I like to experiment. And so I'm refactoring my budget this year. I spent a lot of money last year. I'm not afraid to spend that same amount of money, which let's get to that too. Talk about what people are investing in themselves. We'll make a note of that. But I just want to go about it a little bit differently and then hold myself to a different level of accountability. So I'm gearing up for the next thing. I'm ready to go. So
I love that. And that's one thing I truly love about you. You're always working on the next thing. You do live in the present, though. I think that's where a lot of people lose it. They are always working on the future and forgetting to live in the present. That's one thing I say about you, because if you look at your TikTok, one day you're in Puerto Rico, the next day you're in London, and so you're like living free your life. You're doing your thing.
I am loving it. I really am loving it. Someone just asked me about because when we're in Puerto Rico, there's it's called Playa Calero, but it's called the Hidden Beach. So you have to go down the beach and then you kind of walk through the mangroves, through the woods to get to this other place. And we did that hike together. And he was asking me if I had one thing to share with people, what would it be? And that was one of the things that came to mind. And not just because of the beauty of the beach, but it's the walk that you have to go. Like, you earn it, right? And it's not like it's thorns and thistles, but you really do have to earn it. You're on a path that you don't know, following someone that you have to trust. So it's a lot of like life can be sometimes. And then as we get closer though, I always let them take the lead. When I know that we're close, you can start to hear the ocean. I let them take the lead because I want them to be able to experience that moment and what they went through to get there, right, for themselves. So it's things like that, but that's what I love, being able to not just have these experiences, but to share them with people that matter to me. So I got another London's coming up. I think I'll be in Dallas.
Well, you know we're doing lunch, man, when you come. You
Yeah,
already know
I'll be in
we
Dallas,
hooking
I
it
think,
up.
in August. And they're like, August, it's gonna be 352 degrees in Dallas in August.
You'll
Can we
be all
do
right, man.
can we do something in the evening when it cools off?
Trust me, brother, during that time, it does not cool off. In the evening time in August, it's still about 90 degrees and it's hot. So yeah, there's no cooling off during that time.
Yeah, so I'll make sure you know when I'm there. We'll find a way to connect.
Absolutely. So, guys, just a little note on Jerry. So, funny thing is, I posted a video. I think I was talking about me playing, or I was at church or something like that. And Jerry sent me a message. He was like, dude, you play an instrument and you play for a church and all this other kind of stuff. And, you know, the funny thing for me is, I think I'm sharing a lot about me because, you know, like I'm normally not used to sharing anything about me. You know, that's just people tell you I really just don't talk about my personal life, I guess, just openly or whatever. So I've gotten to a place that I'm thinking like, dang, you know, I'm sharing all of this stuff. I'm sharing I play at a church and everything. And I was like, he said, well, I didn't know you played at a church. So in that, Jerry sends me this video because he was like, dude, I play. And I was just like, okay, yeah, he play. But Jerry sends me this video of him playing Ricky Diller's Because of the Blood. And y'all, he has a Hammond organ in his house and everything, and he's in there playing. And this brother is like cold. I mean, like he's a beast on the organ. He's a beast on organ. And we talk, you know, we've known each other for over a year, never ever discussed that. It just never have come up in it. But then that him playing the organ also led into a conversation about why you don't play in church and what all of that is about. So we're going to start right there because you have a little bit for our first recap, Breaking Free from Religion. That was the first episode of season 6. So let's talk about breaking free. When you hear that, what do you think, Jerry? How did you break free from it?
I picked up my bag and walked, just turned around, did a 180 and just went out the door. I was like, y'all got this. I'm done. But it doesn't come quite that easily, right? And so for people who have kind of grown up in this tradition like I have, right? My grandfather was a preacher pastor, and like we're talking about back in the 50s, like this dude was for real. In that he was accepted by like every denomination. You know, like I have a bag sitting around here right now with reel to reel tapes. You know, he used to record his sermons back in the 50s. And if you listen to him today, it's just relevant. You know, so very plugged in. You know, so all of my uncles on that side of the family, all preachers, pastors, except for one who's a deacon. So we grew up in that. We grew up in the tradition, right? It was your life. You weren't given the opportunity. You know, you didn't get to select and say, we're going to show you Christianity, we're going to show you Catholicism, we're going to show you Judaism, we're going to show you what it means to be Islamic or Buddhist or anything else. It's like you largely believe what's in the environment that you're in. And so for me, it really was, I mean, I was all in, right? I mean, you know, I sang, I played, I taught for many years, was ordained elder for many, many years. But the thing for me, John, is there was just these gnawing questions that I had, and no one could answer them. They didn't even want to entertain the questions, right? And I could imagine if there's people here who've grown up in a tradition, they've had those questions as well. Some of them are you know, just more biblically based, but I think a lot of them are kind of, what are we doing? Like, what are we ultimately supposed to be about? And then I really began to see the dogma. And what the dogma was doing, it was stepping on the true relationships, people's ability to be and live a spiritual life. They were being imposed on with these rules and these laws and these do's and these don'ts, and punished for this and sat down for that. And I'm like, I thought this was supposed to be pretty basic, right? And so let me just say this, and I know it's a long answer, but I'll say this. So at least according to the scripture, right? They came to Jesus and said, what is the greatest law in the commandment? It's to love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as yourself. That's pretty cool, right? Then he said, On this hangs all the law and the prophets. So essentially everything that had been written up to that point, which obviously didn't include your New Testament and some of the old because it wasn't there yet. But on this hangs all the law and the prophets. So essentially what he's saying is if you can get this love thing right, you don't even need the book. But it seemed to me that the thing that that religion is least capable of is unconditional love. And it has shown in this recent era, as we've seen in the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, as society has continually pushed these challenges in front of religion. Religion has failed at every turn, right? How do we deal with the gender issues, right? How do we deal with our race issues? How do we deal with our economic issues? How do we deal with our immigration? All this, when religion has been presented with each one of these, they have failed because they have never attempted to put love in as the answer. I'm like, okay, y'all get down with the get down. I'm gonna go over here and live a spiritual life, and y'all just keep being religious. The other thing I saw is people who had indebted their entire lives to that, they're not getting better. They're not growing. They're not increasing. They don't have a strong value proposition. They're not giving to the world in the way that other people who don't even know half of what these people think that they know or believe. And so it was that thing. It's like, how are you connected to what you say is the source of all things, but you show no thing? And so it was just too many contradictions for me, and it really was like literally giving me headaches. So for me, I had to step away. And it's nothing about God, but it is strictly about the religious practice. I think it's outdated. I know Ty Tribbett got in trouble for saying, but I don't eat off of it, so I can say what I want. Yeah. But it is outdated and it is ill-suited to answer the questions that society has and the ones that are coming. It's just not prepared.
Yeah, and I love how you said about the unconditional love, because that is so true. The church, and just so everyone know, no one's bashing the church. No one's bashing the church or anything like that. And when we're talking about the church, we're not talking about the body of Christ. So that's another thing that we need to make clear. We're not talking about the body of Christ. We're talking about the people that are going to these four walls every Sunday, that is coming up with all of these rules and expectations that no one can meet, because they keep extending the expectations. And I've said 1,000 times to people in conversations, when it's all said and done, the church owes so many people an apology, because they have caused so many people to feel inadequate, because there is no unconditional love. We're not able to love people that are different than us. And I think that's a lot of it too, is that, like how you brought up about the gender and the race and all of that. If it's someone that is not in our bubble, we struggle loving them. Or if in our belief system, we struggle loving them. And I think, again, that's why the church is facing so many problems with like reaching millennials and reaching Gen Z, because they have painted God as a dictator. So it's like, you're going to go to hell for this here. You're going to go to hell for this here. He's going to punish you for this. He's going to punish you for this. So it's like, why serve a God that doesn't love me and that is going to send me to hell for everything I'm doing?
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
That kind of says it all. Yeah, we'll take that only as far as you want to go. We'll leave it right there. But I think it is sad, because if you think about it, like, we're in 2024, and like even some of the necessary teaching on like even finance, personal finance, there's no real doctrine on money, across Christendom, right? You could kind of teach anything you want. We'd be on this fad for a while, then on that fad for a while, and it keeps people confused, but it keeps them. It's like this hospital you can never leave. Right. And it's this constant reminder of what you don't have, what you don't do. You're not this, you're not that. But like, again, if you look at any of my merch, there's a shirt out there, as well as a coffee cup too, that says, "I am the crown of creation, not the crust." Like, we hold a certain place in creation, but we walk into a place every week and have somebody tell us that we're the dirt. No, you're not. No, you're not. Look around you, wherever you are right now, and see what our own expression of God really is. It's in all of the creation that's around us. This is man mimicking his godliness through creation. And that's the other thing. We don't talk about unconditional love, and we do not have a mandate for people to create, because creation is the expression of your godliness. But in our modern churches, we've taught that worship is, and it's not. It's just not. It has its place.
Yeah.
But you will do no more to demonstrate your godliness than to love unconditionally and to create.
So let's talk about that though. This is a podcast we can talk about. So when you say we don't talk about create, what exactly do you mean when you say that?
I mean that creation is going from inanimate to animate, going from invisible to visible, from intangible to tangible. You know, then in the same way that any idea exists in your mind and then it becomes a physical thing in front of you, that is the creative process. And we're not even largely acquainted with our capability to create. So we live off everybody else's creation. Like I said, the technology that we're using right now to have this conversation. I'm sitting outside St. Louis, you sitting in Dallas, right? That's amazing technology. Those were ideas in somebody's head. It was their imagination, right? But we've been told to fear even our imagination, to not trust our own thoughts, to not trust our heart. But it's people who have that commitment to take the inanimate, make it animate, invisible to visible. That's what the creative process is. When you bring that forth, and like you're a musician, right? When you have an idea in your head and you can sit down and you start to express that idea that was in your head and your heart, that is creation. That's it. But I don't care if you're cooking a meal, baking a cake, building a car, building a house. It is all the creative process. When we take our ideas and our desires, the things that captivate our minds, and we bring them into the physical world, that is creation.
Yeah. And funny thing you say that, because that's something similar to what Joel said about the whole creation part and using your gifts in different platforms and forms. The church, they don't mind you using and creating as long as it benefits and serves them.
Right.
You can create here, but bring it all here. Bring it all here to this church. Don't take it out. Don't let nobody else see it. We want to be the only one that benefit from you. And then if you go out and you use it in the world, then you're shamed for using it.
Right.
Or like Joe was talking about, like he plays jazz in a band, you know, and at first he called backlash about playing jazz, but that's God equipped him and gifted him to do that. So why not? What's the harm in doing it? That gives him an opportunity to even minister to people that he encountered in his bands that are outside of the church. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's horrible, because I know so many people who are so amazingly talented and gifted. And it's funny. It's like, well, you can use your gift or you can use your talent here. But the list of gifts and talents you're looking for is even that is super small, right? And if you don't do certain things, then your expression is not even taken seriously. You're not recognized as someone who creates, as someone who's walking in their godliness. That's not how it's talked about. And so that is the shame of it. And so there are people then who will bury their gift, the people who will sit on their gift. There were people who will be ashamed of their gift because there's no place for it in that place where they are. But when that person is devoid of their opportunity to express their creative ability, then everyone who would have experienced it also goes without. Right. And so there's a dearth, there's a drought in the world because people are not able to, not willing to, don't have the courage or support to share their creative gifts. I mean, I'm talking about some super talented people, some names that I could say, but I won't say them, who are so talented. They'll be a part of everybody else's thing, but they dare not put their own name on their own thing and put their own stuff out. They'll never do it. They'll never do it. And that's a shame.
And do you think that comes from a false sense of humility that we get when we are in church? And what I mean by that is, you know, you can walk up to someone and you can say, "Hey, Jerry, you sure did play that organ today." And you better not say, "Oh, thank you. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, I worked really hard to do it." Your answer is supposed to be, "All praises be to God." Yeah, you know, it's like, but I tell people all the time, you cannot compliment the painting without complimenting the painter. So when you compliment this gift and that person just says thank you, you still compliment God as well.
See,
So
and you're gonna mess around and you're gonna not get through all this stuff on this list, because this topic
okay,
we're
yeah.
gonna be right now. We're gonna stay, or you here now. Let's just see if we'll rush through. We'll rush through the other ones. So part of that, I think there is this expectation of this false humility, but it is also part of what I call this deprecating gospel, right? If you dirt and you trash and you just you this and you that, or you're not this and you're that, then how could you do anything? So people, well, it wasn't me, it was him. Well, okay, according to your Bible, that what men would see your good works and then they will glorify God. So we don't understand. You see what I'm saying? So even with like, you don't need a Bible degree to understand that, but it all gets twisted into something else. But again, if I prove to you or demonstrate to you that you have capability outside of what we're doing here, well, you might just get up and leave. But okay, let me just see why, John. I see what you did.
Yeah, I know we got a lot to cover.
No, that's not even about that. So this is the last thing I'm gonna say about this. If you look at the ministry of Jesus, right, and the people, according to the writing, that he encountered, right, even the ones that wanted to follow him, right, they that are whole don't need a physician. Go on your way, sin no more. Like, he did not require those people to follow him, even though they wanted to. The church is the exact opposite. They don't ever want to let you go because it is, again, this perpetual state of brokenness. And they miss one important word and never talk about this word: wholeness. The ministry of Jesus was about wholeness. You coming to your full self. You being actually really healed and whole. Then why are you following the doctor around? You go live your life. But the church would never do that, because then how does it survive? So for fear of its own existence, it has to teach a doctrine of fear and minimalism, minimizing you for it to survive. Because it does not have the same faith it expects you to express.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, now, before people show up at my house and carry me out of here, change the topic.
Yeah, well, we got to tap on this anyway, so it's gonna come back on it. So okay, so
I gotta raise my seat up again because you still taller than me.
Okay, you fine.
I'm not even sitting down right now. I'm just trying to get my eyes on level.
Oh man, whatever. So Jerry, breaking free from old thinking, doing the math.
Doing the math. Oh my God.
Thinking about what's coming up and breaking away from staying in the norm and preparing ourselves for what is about to hit us. When you hear that, what do you think?
I think that what comes to mind is the enemy of the new is always the last. Right? Last is the enemy of the new and the next. Because in the current, right, which is the last thing that we learned or understood, is where all of our comfort is. Right? We feel relaxed in that. And one of the things we know about human beings is we're not really that comfortable with change. Right? We like things the way we like it. We don't like to be disturbed. We don't like to be disrupted. And so we get stuck in a certain frame of thinking, but at the same time, everything else could be changing around you. And you end up missing all the important clues because you're locked into the now or into the then or to the old. You're not even looking for the new. And when the new comes, some of us vilify it. We look at change as our enemy, the thing that's come to destroy us. It may come to challenge you, but it didn't come to destroy you. But there is certain change that can destroy you if you don't pay attention, right? Let me just say this. I just had this conversation with somebody. I always wondered about the mindset of the people who refuse to evacuate when there's a hurricane or massive flood coming. They're gonna stick it out. I never quite understood those people who couldn't hear the word, get the news, take the signals, and get themselves to higher ground or safe ground. Based on something that they thought or knew, they're going to stick it out. I've never understood those people, because those are the ones that are then calling for somebody to risk their lives to come get them. Or they find them, in the bottom of the house after the fish then ate their eyeballs out, right? I just never understood. But it demonstrates, don't laugh at that. But
I'm not trying to laugh at that. You got me off guard.
I know we're gonna get a couple of those. But it demonstrates though how stubborn we are, and how even when everything else is going crazy around us, we think that we have a safe space, so we refuse change. In every area of life, this shows up. In every area of life, it shows up where we see we are resistant to change. But this next one is coming. It's not going to ask your permission, and you're either going to get with it, or I promise you, it's going to roll you over.
So, Jerry, how do we break free from that? Because what you said is comfort is like a safe space.
Sure
We
it is.
feel safe there. We know what's going to happen. We know we think we know what's next, but so we just stay there because life is good for us. So it's no need for us to prep and think about or do the math for the next. So how do we break that?
That's a tough one, because I think some of it comes to what are you listening to, right? If you're in a comfortable place and you're refusing to change, then that means the environment is also set in a way that it does not inspire or require change. That's the music you listen to, the shows that you watch, the people that you hang out with. It's not just you begin to make everything, you nail down everything in the environment that it's not going to change. And I think that the people who are most likely, here's how you break free. Ask a question. Ask a question that you really want the answer to, and say, I'm going to be open to this answer no matter where it comes from, no matter who it comes through. I'm going to be open to this answer. And that begins the process of change. I think so much is possible when we can accept change, but I think oftentimes it can start with as simple as a question. And there's always something that you want to know that you don't know. And if there's nothing that you think that you need to know, you may be stuck beyond anything I could do to even help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yolanda. Yes. Yeah. Surround yourself with people who push you to greater. Thank you so much for that. So much of it is in your circle. Your success is always going to be in your circle. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You're fine, because I completely agree with that. Your circle is so important because they're gonna push you, they're gonna challenge you, and hopefully your circle inspires you. But a lot of times when people get around people that are doing their thing, some people tend to get intimidated by them because they're measuring their progress to someone else's progress. And I tell people comparison is one of your worst enemies, because when you compare yourself to someone else, you're always going to come up short because you're comparing your perception of them to your reality. And you don't know what those people are doing behind the scenes. You really don't know what's going on. So, yeah.
Well, and there are circles of people, both men and women, so I'm not going to pick on either gender, that it's kind of almost like this silent contract. You don't call me on my stuff, I'm not going to call you on your stuff. You tell me everything I do is good, I'm going to tell you everything you do. You know, you go, girl, you that, she looking 50 ways twisted. But you know what I'm saying? We just going to, we're not going to say anything. So my thing is, it's like we have this silent agreement to not hold each other accountable, to not have the uncomfortable conversation. You can act as crazy, I'm gonna make you feel good about it and like you were right. You can dress crazy, I'm gonna make you think that you was, ready for the runway. You can go through all your money, I'm gonna convince you that you could run a country. All that, like, it's just something, and I don't know where this came from, but then our circle becomes our own worst enemy. Mm-hmm. Because there is a refusal that we cannot hold each other accountable. I don't know where this came from. I've become more aware of it in the last few weeks or so, but I'm like, this is weird. Like, people are not having uncomfortable conversations with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it goes back to what you said earlier about that comfort, that safe space. So if they're surrounded by people who aren't asking questions, they feel safe there. It's no need for me to think outside the box, no need for me to push myself to greater, because they're comfortable right where they are.
Right.
Unfortunately. Okay. So that was really, really good. So breaking free from past hurts and trauma. And Yolanda, that just commented this was her episode. She's a therapist. So when you
Oh, that's Yolanda. Hey, I watched that episode.
Yeah, that's Yolanda. So
What?
breaking free from past hurts and trauma. What do you think when you hear that?
Oh boy, I'm glad you had her on because she just, she had she was compassionate, but she also had a little, you know what I'm saying? She could give it to you. And so I'm thankful for people like her because I'm not always that way. Here's what I believe, that if you need help, get help. Right? If something's not right, again, seek out the answer. Whatever that is. But in a lot of ways, we are all the byproduct of everything that we've ever been through. Right. And I think what people are surprised at is that they can get to a certain point in life and they still feel the pain. Right. But here's what I know. So let's say you were an athlete, you made it to the NFL, and you played for 13 years. You finished your career. Maybe you made it to the Hall of Fame. Maybe you didn't. But guess what you're going to feel? For all those years of out there banging it up on that field, you're going to feel some pain. You're going to feel some stuff. And guess what? Some of it's okay. I think that our biggest challenge is, how do we take the things that have happened to us and put them in context where they become useful and they're not the things that are haunting us in our dreams anymore? But Yolanda, see, I wish he was on here because I don't even know if some people really want to reach the higher ground above their trauma because they get so much attention for being maimed, for being hurt, for being crippled. And it damn sure gives them an excuse to not do anything. Why would we expect anything of you after all that you've been through? But while we're in this phase of wanting to rid ourselves of the evil and the bad and all the things that were inconvenient, let me ask you this, John. If you think of 3 things that have happened to you in your life that were unfortunate, painful, hurtful, you don't have to say what they are. Just 3 things. Now let's make it like those things never happened. You are not sitting in that chair today.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing what you're doing today. You're not helping people today if you have not overcome what you went through. And so while we begrudge it and we think that there's a way for us to keep all the bad and the evil away, and I just said this to somebody, we look at evil as this independent force, where evil is really just the absence of light and good. It's different. It's not like it has an intention. It just behaves the way it behaves. If you deal with a person who's been void of love and light, they're going to act out in a certain way. Not because they're an evil person, they're just void of light and love. If you give them light and love, you will see a different person. And so my point is, what we want to get rid of is what brings balance to this universe. You can't have light without the dark. You cannot have the yin without the yang. You cannot have the good without the bad. That's just the way that it is. If you think that you can recreate this world with none of that, there's no balance. It has to be that. Right? Just the way you can see the beauty of a bird emerging from an egg in a nest. One of those falls down to the ground and it's eaten by the next thing that comes along. We have to have both. And people think that the mission of their lives is to make sure no bad, no darkness, no nothing ever. No, it's not. It's to live your whole life. Some of it's going to be painful. Find the context for it, turn it into a tool, and then let's move on. And see, that's why you need Yolanda, because I'm like, look, you get one more tissue, and then we got to go.
But again,
Yolanda, help us.
Help us, Yolanda, help us. But it goes back to what you said again, being comfortable in those spaces. Like you said, they get more attention.
Oh, for sure.
More energy because they are staying in those spaces of victim. But like you said, eventually people even get tired of that. They're going to either like leave you in it because they're going to get tired of hearing the same sob story over and over again. And they'll be saying, you're a downer, you're an energy killer, you're a vibe killer. So they're going to stop dealing with you. So, but with that, so dealing with past hurt and trauma, and I like how you said, take the context and make it a tool. What advice do you give someone to do exactly that? To take their hurt and make it a help for somebody else? What advice do you have for that?
So if you're incapable of exploring that on your own, that's where I think that a therapist is truly, truly helpful. Someone who is skilled at helping you ask the right questions, right? And the therapist, they're not doing the work. It's like you're doing the work, they're shining the light, right? And they're helping to direct you through it. That's where they come in. And or how about this, right? You got any wise people in your circle? Like, do you have any? You see what I'm saying? If everybody in your circle is just like you, your circle's trash. I'm just going to tell you, your circle's trash. No, it's like McFriend. It's like we franchise our friend. Everybody dresses like, everybody looks like, everybody talks like. That's not even genuine. That's not real.
That's not real.
That's not. Did I just say your circle? I said that out loud.
Yeah, you said it. You said it out loud. You said it out loud.
It's in the LiveFree cup. It just came out. Hold on. Can I see what Yolanda said? I'm sorry, y'all.
Absolutely. Now, I do challenge them because one thing we can do is keep talking about the same thing and you're not implementing any change.
See?
So true.
Trauma babies are just looking for another nipple. That's all they want. Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you so much.
You know what, Jerry, you're getting worse as we go.
Okay, I'm gonna get better.
That should be a t-shirt.
When you sent the list though, I was like, he really wants to touch on all this stuff. And this is why you had them on those episodes. Like I could not have done the Yolanda episodes. I'm like, I don't like to repeat myself, and I definitely don't like to hear people repeat themselves. Like at some point, I'll be like, "You got the part. You don't have to say it again. You got the part. You are the most wounded. You got the part." Thank you, Yolanda, because I'm just poking fun.
But Jerry, that need to be a t-shirt. Trauma babies need a new nipple. I love that. They need to be a LiveFree t-shirt. Yeah, coin that for sure. Yeah,
done.
Okay, so let's go to the next because that's really good. So the next one is, let's see here. Okay, so we got a question for a shirt. Yeah, we got. Oh no, we don't. I'm ahead of myself. So I'm ahead of myself. Y'all almost got a shirt there. So the next topic was breaking free and protecting your peace, and this was from a millennial's perspective. Okay. So when you hear that, like protecting your peace, what do you think about that?
So help me out. What did the millennials say? Because that makes me sound like it's going to be something one of my kids would say.
She just pretty much says she just controlled the energy that she takes in, you know, pretty much dealing with the people that she allows in her circle. And, you know, if it's just not working for her because she doesn't like drama. So just those simple answers, you know.
So I would I agree with a lot of what she said, if that's how she said it. The one thing about avoiding the drama is like, good luck. Like there has to be things that come into your life that help to shape you, that help define you, that help expose you to you. So you get to see what you're all about. If none of those things ever happen, none of them get in, and you're just walking around in bubble wrap, you don't grow. But if you don't grow, you do not qualify for the things that you think you want in life. Because those things are for a version of you that's been through some things that you refuse to go through. Good luck getting to everything that you think that you want in life. So the way that I look at peace, because I always associate peace and joy together, and I look at them in contrast to happiness, because I think that people are selling the farm on happiness, which is about the silliest thing that you could do, right? Chasing happiness is like chasing butterflies, because it is so conditional, it's so in the moment, it's so about the moment that they're never lasting. But the thing is, your peace and joy can go with you in every single situation, every single one of them. And the only thing that can happen is this. Because people are like, I'm not letting anybody come in and steal my joy, steal my peace. They can't be stolen. They can only be surrendered. Because it is a state of being. It is a state of mind. It is of your own choosing. And whether things seem good or bad or up or down on the outside, your state on the inside, you own. Unless, in fact, you admit that I'm just a sponge picking up signals from everything and everybody and everything that's happening around me, and I am the result of all the things that are happening around me. Or you can make a decision to know who you are and to stand in that, right? And so now if we move away from happiness, we get down to peace and joy. The thing that's going to undergird that is always going to be gratitude. And gratitude is sucking the good out of every possible moment, even if it looks like it's all bad. If you can do that, then you can make some choices about how you express yourself, right? But we operate in an environment now where people have such a low level of emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They have no fuse. Everybody's on a hair trigger, right? It's the age of outrage. Everybody's pissed off at something, right? Everybody's just 2 seconds from cussing you out. Like, it's just the emotional intelligence is not here. But in those situations, I also know that the gratitude is low, right? But if
So
I could be, go ahead.
how do you get to that place of gratitude though? Because so many people, like, I hear that whole thing is the glass half empty or the glass half full. So when I hear that, my answer is always, I just see something in the glass because I'm grateful something is in the glass. It's not empty. It could be full, but at least something is in the glass. So that's how I always look at that. I have room to grow. I can fill it up or whatever, but I'm not completely depleted. But we live in such a world now that it's hard to find grateful when you hear things like that, because if your glass is half empty, that means you got something maybe missing or whatever. So
Right.
how do you get to a place of gratefulness?
But I think you just said it. I love the way that you said it. I'm just grateful there's something in the glass. And that's being able to accept the now without the need to have to judge it. Right. And again, this is some of the church brain, right? That we have to make it good or bad. It's got to be plus or minus. Guess what? It can just be. You can just let it be. And if your intention is to squeeze all of the good out of every moment, then there's something in the glass. I'm grateful. There's a glass. I'm grateful. Why do we have to measure and meter everything? Right now, you're forcing yourself to a certain place emotionally based on what you have in terms of your standards or your threshold for things. Maybe you're only satisfied with a glass that's 3/4 full, and you feel like you got cheated by 25% or whatever. But we make up these measures, and we have these. Let me better word. We have these expectations of how things are supposed to be or how the world is supposed to react to us, and all it does is make us miserable. It just makes us miserable. I love what you said, though.
Yeah,
Accept what's in front of you without the need to judge it or rate it. Then you can squeeze the good out of every moment.
I love that.
It changes you as a person. It really
Yes.
does. It's not just a moment. It will change you as a person. So
Yeah. Because I mean, like I said, you see that things could be better, but they could be worse as well. So you just find gratefulness for where you are. And I definitely want to just say something, because when I said about the millennial answer, I said a typical millennial answer, but I wasn't. And I just want to make it clear. When I speak, because the young lady who was the millennial, she's my niece, brilliant mind. She's working on a second master's right now, and she's just a brilliant mind. Normally, when we talk, she just give me one sentence answers and she move on. It's like, and I'm be like, don't you want to give me more? And she's thinking in her head, like, I've already explained everything I'm explaining to you. And she moves on. So that's what I mean by typical millennial answer. So
is
yeah,
that your cousin?
that was my niece.
Your niece. Okay, I know it was wrong. So I did see that episode. See,
Yeah, that was
you
my
plug in.
niece.
I
Yeah,
remember.
she's a
Pretty
brilliant
smart.
woman.
Yeah, it's pretty smart.
So, okay, so this is a question for a shirt, you guys, and this is for the blue shirt, and I'll pull that up so you guys can see that, because we want to get you. And Jared gonna give some of his stuff away. Thanks, Jared. I wish you would have told me that.
I was looking for more comments before I did that. I didn't see no
Okay,
comments.
y'all need to give some more comments then.
Did people press like and all that?
Yeah, we're getting some likes. So this is for this blue shirt that's on the screen. This is on a blue shirt. So the question for you guys is, and y'all tell me this here, this kind of easy question, I think. What is the consistent color I've worn during season 6? Y'all should know this one like real easy. Let's see what they got here. Let's see if they know. That's for the blue shirt. Let me see here. comments. Do we have any answers there?
Mm,
They got blue.
I got blue.
It was in every, it was even, I've worn, this is the 10th shirt tonight, and this one color has been in every shirt, all 10 shirts.
Uh-oh.
Quee says she want a shirt. Okay, Quee. I mean, we'll get you a shirt. You give us that right answer. You give us, you may get a hat too tonight. So what's the consistent color? Anybody know? Tyson, you know, you almost won a shirt earlier. Okay, well, Jerry, we're gonna move on, and maybe they'll come up with an answer.
What size is the shirt?
It'd be whatever size you want it to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll give whatever size you need. Let's see here. Somebody just commented. Oh, Quee got it. Oh, and no, Marquita got it.
Wait a minute.
So Tyson said black, and Marquita said red. Quee said red after Marquita, and then Marquita came back and said orange and white. No, Marquita, but you had the right.
XL now.
So the Marquita had it right. The common color this season is red, and that's why I wore the same red hat with every shirt. Every shirt either has a red in the logo or something like that, and that's just because the first photo shoot I did for the podcast, I had it on a red hoodie. So just playing that for that. So Marquita, we got you. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing here. That was good. We got one more coming up. Breaking free from abusive relationships. Jared, what you think when you hear that, man?
Why are you there? No, that's serious. Like, why are you there? Right? I mean, okay, so I'm trying to think if I remember part of this episode. So abusive relationships can be of any type, right? They can happen in many places. They can happen at work, right? They can happen in your home from any person who calls that their abode. It could be your friends, it could be your family, extended family. So that all those things qualify, right? Break free. So one is, do you have the courage to stand up for yourself? Or have you been relegated to just living your life in fear of this person, of this condition? And when these events come around, your only action is to attempt to survive it, but not to overcome it. I'm just checking in with the room, make sure I'm talking about the right thing. But one thing that I've learned, John, is the world is a big place. Why are you there? Right? What is it that buys your cooperation with the situation? That's one of the things I've never understood. Now, do I know that there are certain factors that can come up? You know, it's like, where am I going to go? How am I going to be taken care of? You know, but it depends on now, what are you going to value? Right? Like I've always, you know, not including too much of my own childhood in this, but even women who stay in abusive relationships with men, even when their children could be threatened, I don't understand it. I'm not going to be able to give you a good answer because what I've learned is the world is a big place. Your city is probably bigger than you think it is. Let them be there, and then you be somewhere else. Unless they got you chained up somewhere, which they do, you're probably not listening to this. I guess I'm at a loss for why people don't just accept that I can leave. I may take some losses. I may have to start from scratch, but I will not have this abuse. I will not be denigrated. You know what I mean? Like I won't be hurt. So help me out. Maybe I can get to a better answer.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're coming out of abusive relationships, and abusive doesn't always mean physical, it could be verbal, it could be mental.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it could be all of that, you know. So a lot of times I think when people are in relationship that are no longer serving the purpose in life, sometimes people get to a place where they believe this is the best I'm gonna get. This is the best, or they hope that the person is going to become the person they thought they knew, or they hope they will know in the future. So they have these hopes, and sometimes, like I said, people are just afraid to leave, and they stick around in situations in abusive relationships because they are afraid, So
Yeah, I get that, and so I'll demonstrate, a little bit more compassion, so there have been people who have hung out in these situations, and the situation, the whatever, turned around into something different or better. That can happen. And then there's also been, times when the coroner was called. So, everybody knows what they are capable of, as much as I'm saying, if it's abusive, you can leave. Um, it's not to say that you don't stick, like if something gets uncomfortable, you just leave every situation. That's not what I'm not saying that at all. But there's some people that, what are you fighting for? What are you waiting for? Is the prize really that great that you would endure this? So, because when you started talking, John, the first thing I thought about was, oh, this is a person who doesn't know themselves. So then they don't know when the situation has disassociated them with their real person. They don't really know themselves, right? And so the abuse may not even be perceived as abuse when it first happens. But this can only happen in an environment where you don't know who you are. You don't know what you're capable of. You don't know why you are. These things can happen to you. So for the blind, the uninformed, those who are, walking to the beat of everybody else's drum, I think they might be more susceptible to this. But a person who knows who they are, they know why they are, and they know that they have a destiny that's always going to be bigger than any one individual, one situation, one clique, one group. That's a different story altogether. Because if you see yourself, so think about this, John. So you have a whole host of personal relationships outside of being on this podcast today. Would you allow any one person in your circle to pull you off your perch so you never do this again? No. Right.
No.
Because you value, but I would think that it's because it's not because you just enjoy getting on camera. It's like, you believe that you are spreading a message through this platform to help and support people. One person, 10 people, 1,000 people, 10,000, 1,000,000 people versus this one person. Because if you don't know who you are, guess what? They don't know. They don't know who you are either. Because if they knew who you are, how could they treat you that way?
Yeah.
If they valued you at all, how could they treat you that way? So to me, that's what I'm talking about. Let's do the math here.
Yeah.
That math is not mathing for me. I've seen so many people whose flame was extinguished in situations like this, who had so much to give to the world, so much to give to their community, so much to give to their family, but their light was extinguished by someone who did not know who they were.
Yeah. And you know what, Jerry? I think too, in relationships now, the tolerance level has been elevated so much that people don't know what abuse is. And what I mean by that is that sometimes, you know how people post stupid videos, where these aren't stupid videos, but this is a couple maybe arguing in the car or whatever, and maybe the spouse records it, and you hear the guy telling her, shut the F up, B. And that's like their normal like communication with one another. Like, so I think levels have gotten where a woman feels comfortable hitting her man, that those things are normal to a lot of people in a lot of relationships. So they don't know what abuse is because the lines are so blurred in their everyday interaction with each other. I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm a cusser. I cuss all the time. But in relationships and friendships, I don't cross that line with people. I'm not going to curse my friends. I'm not going to curse the one I'm with. I just don't do that because I know that you start pushing boundaries, it's going to get worse every time. And cursing leads to pushing, and pushing leads to hitting. And now I don't do all of that stuff. But I think in relationships, the lines are so blurred with our normal behavior and abuse nowadays in many relationships.
So here's the thing, right? So before the abuse, Thank you. Yeah, I saw Ilana's comment. There's this sort of self-loathing thing that happens, and so I like how you said "be," but I think for a woman to process that a man just called her a bitch when she calls herself a bitch, what's the math here?
Yeah.
And women have gotten like that was I listen, and maybe because I'm older, I got this chin music here, but like there was a time if you said that to a woman, those was fighting words.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking around, so it is still off-putting to me when I hear women, refer to each other or themselves and like, I'm just that kind of bitch. I'm like, excuse me? So the fact that he says it, that cannot be abuse. Heffa, you set the standard. Like you
set the
you
standard.
said what this is.
Exactly.
And this is what I'm saying. A person who does not know who they are. I'm going to keep going back to that, right? Body, soul, spirit. We talk a lot about body, but that's not who you are. You are your spirit, but people don't know that part of their own selves. So how can you put out or expect to measure how people treat you? You don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so these things become either, right, acceptable, my word, or indistinguishable, your word, because you don't know who you are. And so what's off-putting to us is absolutely their normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like there's women on here. Can y'all help me? When it makes me very uncomfortable that women are doing this. Right? Yolanda, help me out. Somebody,
Yeah.
Lori.
So the ladies in the thing,
why y'all do this?
We're gonna leave it with one gender. Do your friends call you bitch? If you're a lady, do your friends call you bitch, or do you call your friends bitch to their face just in casual conversation? Put a yes or no in the comment. And yeah, put a yes or no. So Jerry, while they're coming up, building up the courage to put a yes in there because they know their friends call them that and they call their friends that. Oh, Quee said yep.
Yep.
Okay, Quee said yep.
Well, is that Whelp or Yelp? Yelp.
Yep. I
Yelp?
guess.
Is that Yelp? Nope. No.
Nope.
Pammy said
Okay.
no. Nope.
Okay, Pammy said no. Okay, so that two no. So Quisha, Quee Martin, why do you allow, or why do you call your friends the B word? We'll put that in there, and then Jerry, while she's coming up with her answer, we're gonna go to the next thing here.
Okay, before you go to the next thing, and she's coming up with that answer, right? So I'm going to give away one of these hats.
Okay, giveaway. Yeah, let's go.
No. Let me just speak more clear. I want to because we have this is like a social contract. There's an opportunity for someone to win one of these hats, right? Which means if it's not one I already have, I'm going to get it custom made and embroidered just for you. But here's what you have to do. And John, he's a nice guy. I'm not that nice. So I want to get my watch out here because I'm going to put a timer on this. Put a stopwatch. Because you're going to have 60 seconds to put it in the chat. John, you can't participate.
Okay.
So in the last year, I have written and published 4 books. Starting right now, you got 60 seconds to tell me the title of one of my books.
Dude, you stole my last question.
Was it?
Yes. But that's good. That's good. So
did I miss the production meeting? I didn't. I thought I was at the production meeting. We didn't talk about that.
But hey, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. So okay, so let's see what we got here. Anybody have the answer?
We said leisure, just leisurely conversation.
Okay. Oh, so leisure conversation. That's why. Okay, they call each other be in the leisure conversation.
We said give it to me. Heck to no. What? Quee, you saying give what to you? You said give it to me. I don't know what I have no idea what Quee was talking about. She says she quit. She don't want a shirt or.
Don't quit, Quee. Don't quit. Keep coming. We got one more question. I'm good, got one more question, and then you'll win one. You'll win one, and the next shirt is pretty hot too. So I like this. Well, I like all 3 of them. So.
She said the hat. We're at 1 minute and 6 seconds. I'm gonna give y'all till 20. See, I'm good. She said now I'm a regular.
Okay. So, well, Jared, they didn't know the name of your book, so I can tell you guys the name of Jared, The Principles of the Free Lifestyle.
Principles of the LiveFree Lifestyle.
LiveFree Lifestyle. That's
Right.
his book. That's his
And
book.
then there's the workbook, and then there's the Weekend Warrior Scoring Blueprint. That's the golf book. And then there's the last one, the Live Free Evolution. This is the diary style of it. And I'm so Googleable. You could have just looked it up, but okay.
Yeah, you could have looked that one up, but we'll come back.
Now I don't have to get it. Now I don't have to get an extra hat made and shit.
So Laura said, no longer deserve you, and it's causing to disturb your peace, leaving me late. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So let's go to the next thing here. Breaking free from unhealthy living. And this was when we had a personal trainer on here, and Yolanda was on there, and Yolanda was talking about portion control. And he said Yolanda sounded like she want a Pop-Tart, and one pork chop, and candy yams, a cup of candy yams. So because she's trying to figure out how to eat bad and feel, achieve her goals. So what do you think about when you hear breaking free from unhealthy living?
Man, it's our norm, right? So our food supply is highly suspect. Our water supply is highly suspect. Our air supply is highly suspect. So we live in a very, very toxic world. And I think we have to be more conscious and aware of what we are putting in our bodies. And it is hard, right? So I think it's safe to say that since the pandemic, the price of food has gone up at least 20%, in some cases 40%. Right. And it continues to go up on a constant kind of 3% every year anyway. But we've seen like really high leaps. And so this, like if you're going to eat quote unquote clean, it costs you a little bit of money to do that. Some people don't feel like they have the money to be able to do that. And that's unfortunate. But like, so for me, when I'm at my best, I practice intermittent fasting. And that's not to say anybody else should do it. So, I'm looking from the last time that I eat in the evening till the next time. I want 16 hours to pass. I think and if you can go longer, that's great. I'm not advising anybody. That's not my role here. But there's certain mechanisms in the body that kick in by virtue of fasting. And so, but it also kind of helps you break your sugar addiction and other things. Because that's the thing. People don't understand that a lot of the foods that they're stuck on, they are addicted to. Right. And that addiction is just all about those dopamine hits that you get from your brain when you eat certain things. But some of the food, because most of it comes out of a lab, is formulated to be addicting. Right. And that's what people have fallen into. So I think that this is going to be really interesting. Because what we have done, though, John, is we have normalized and celebrated obesity. We have normalized it and we celebrate it. Right. And this is where I talk about people not holding themselves accountable. Like, you can't tell me, like, I think that they're, men who can be very, handsome, women who can be very attractive. But if the only thing we can see is from the neck up, help us out. Help you out. Like, at some point, again, like, I like to move around. Like, I like long walks and hikes and stuff like that. If you can't get around the block, you can't roll with me. But we are doing it to ourselves. The number of people that I'm starting to see who are checking out in their late 30s, in their 40s, early 50s, who could be healthy, is kind of scary right now. And I'm sure you're seeing it the way I'm seeing it. It's like, oh, such and such had a heart attack. How old is he? 46. I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing to ourselves? And this is a decision that we get to make every day. As many meals as you eat, you get to make those decisions every day. If you understand that you have a problem, then you should seek help. You should seek help. And there are some lifestyles that are just prone to different things. So one of the things we don't talk about, I don't know if it was brought up in that episode, but one of the things that even when I've had these periods where I'm more conscious of what I eat, I'm making sure that I'm active, the one thing that I always have to be on guard for is my mental health. Mm-hmm. Right? And what I do, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that can come into it. right? And I have ended up in the doctor's office or in an ER, just being transparent with y'all, not because I was out there doing something crazy, but I was just going about my normal thing, and it just put that much pressure on me. And so it's not just our physical, but it's also our mental, and a lot of things that kind of move on or encourage some of our bad habits with our eating comes out of our psyche, right? You're lonely, you eat. You're sad, you eat. You're mad, you eat. You're afraid, you eat, or you drink, or you something else. And so it really is about this concept of our whole person. Again, how well do you know you? Do you know the signals in your own body when something is just not quite right? And then having the courage. Again, another one, for a long time I was the typical black man. I ain't gonna no doctor. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what we do. But it's still kind of fear, right? And I'll admit this: I don't like needles at all. But I get them. I don't like needles. I had to get one once for a life insurance policy. And he sent a nurse to the house. I was almost in the kitchen floor. You should have seen just taking a little blouse. I was, I was out. Don't laugh
Yeah,
at
but
that.
the thing though is, I think with nowadays the whole body positivity trend, or whatever you want to call it, platform, I think that is so confusing to a lot of people. I think a lot of people think that, oh, this body positivity mean I can just be obese and the world is going to accept it. I can wear whatever I want to wear, do whatever I want to do, and feel good in my skin. But I get being positive about your weight and everything. And weight is a struggle for most people. I mean, it's even a struggle for the people that are on here with six packs and all this other kind of stuff. That's why you see, like, they'll be amazed. All of these people you're looking at on Instagram that are in their 20s, these guys are taking steroids, they're taking testosterone shots, they're doing all of these things just for that perfect image that they're giving you on the picture. So it's not a natural thing, but with getting and breaking free for physical parts of your life, it does go back to your mind. And your first question you have to ask yourself: do I like the way I feel when I get out of the bed every morning? Is it a struggle for me? Do I like how I feel when I climb a set of stairs? Am I out of breath? At that point, body positivity should be out the door. You should be wanting to do stuff for for yourself. And I had a sister that passed, and she was, had weight issues. She had weight issues. And I knew, I'm a firm believer, you're going to die when you're supposed to die. There's already a time and a period set for you. The thing I hated for her is the quality of life she lived at the end. I wish that she was in a better, physical state, that she could have enjoyed her life, but her weight prevented her from doing that. So I just say to people, you don't have to be a size 6 or 28 waist for the fellas. Just be at a good space that you feel good physically and mentally about yourself. So, yeah. Okay. Well, we got two more, Jerry. We moved past this here. Breaking free from age
All right. So let
limitations.
me go back to Quee first, who teased me
Okay.
about a little. Yes, the Quee, a little old needle. And by the way, they never look like needles to me. They look like crucifixion nails. So let's be very clear that's why I don't like them.
Not crucifixion nails. Not Okay. Okay.
All
So
right. So what do we have next?
breaking free from age limitations. Do you
Ooh.
feel restricted by your age, Jerry?
So more things hurt on me now than they used to, after I do certain things. But I feel pretty good. I really do. And compared to some of my contemporaries, some of my peers, like I said, who can't, do certain things or can't endure certain things, I again, I love travel. I love these experiences, and the only way that I can enjoy them is to be mobile. So I don't feel those restrictions at all. I know that these Thompson jeans is, it's a pretty good set. Um, so I got people in my family who lived and been very healthy into, well into older age that you wouldn't even know their age. So I don't feel those limitations. Now there's certain things that are, kind of off the table, right? Like I'm probably not going to go to the NBA now, right? They had their chance, right? It's not going to happen.
You can go as a coach.
I can, right, or Rick, they probably wouldn't even take me now. It's like the kids who like mop up the sweat, like they're like, that's a young man's job. Get out of here. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't feel a lot of it. But obviously, physiology is what it is, right? As we age, like you're gonna show signs of aging, but it's such a wonderful age that we do live in, right? If we're conscious, um, like one of the things I'll say this, that one of the things that I do is like I love cold therapy, I love heat therapy. So I got a little, sauna situation here. I have a hot tub. I do that. I get assisted stretch because one of the first things that happens as you get older is people lose their circulation and their ability to be agile. That's so important as you age. So I go and I do assisted stretch. So I'm doing the things, that will help me continue to be agile and be able to move. I love to play golf. I don't want to, go play one round of golf, feel like I need to sleep for 2 days, or I'm in so much pain and discomfort that I can't. So I don't think that there are limitations. I think now in the age of wisdom, right, as we get older, hopefully we're operating more in our wisdom with these amazing tools and capabilities. Like you can mobilize your vision, right? There's so many people who, I'll give you this story. There's a little bit of controversy, but I'll share it anyway. But the story of Colonel Sanders. Well, he was 65. He retired. He got his first retirement check. He said, I'm not going to live like this. And the one thing that he had of value, whether he actually owned it or not, that's the controversy, was the chicken recipe. And so, but he went around to restaurants and shared the recipe, right? So he would go cook the chicken for him, and all he wanted was a percentage of the increased earnings from the restaurant from this recipe. Now, the lesson is he had to go to 1,000 restaurants and get 1,000 no's before he got his first yes. But KFC came out of that. He was 65. So if you go back and look at history and see people like, even now, I don't know the statistics for women, but most men, their highest earnings will actually be in their late 40s and 50s, right? When they really hit their stride and make their money. But that means you still have to be doing certain things in a certain way, right? And so I don't think it disqualifies us at all. I think it just allows us to see what else we have sort of in our reservoir that we can draw from and still continue to make an impact. And then again, in this age of wisdom, who are you imparting that to? Right? Who are you sharing that with? And so I think that those things, as much as we can stay connected to good energy, stay connected to good people, stay connected to good environments, I think that all these things kind of just the liveliness of it, right? And the one thing about this wonderful brown that we wrapped in, this thing is built for the long haul, right? It's built for
For
the
the
long
long
haul.
haul. Yes, sir.
Everybody ain't get what we got.
Yeah,
You know,
everybody get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we the source of everything that everybody else did get anyway, but they got a slightly watered down version of it. Like, even let me just say this: even with like black women, because I travel, so I see women, from all over the world. Beautiful. No women on the planet age as well as black women. Right? Some of them can be the hotness when they're young. They might be the hotness in middle age, but when they get a little bit older, get a little bit shaky for some of them. But black women, shoot, let me tell y'all something. Y'all know how to do that thing. And until they box you up, put a toe tag on you, y'all got it. So you take care of yourself. You're gonna be all right. John, stop laughing at that stuff.
I'm just cracking you cracking me up, man. You cracking me up. But Jerry, see, for me, the older I get, the more empowered I feel. So
Yeah.
my limitations lessen as I get older because I've reached. I don't give a damn what you think,
Right.
what you say or whatever. So, but the key thing when you said about, again, it goes back to the circle of people, that the people that are surrounding you.
Right.
Because if you're surrounded by people who have said, oh, well, I'm 50, so I'm headed downhill, then you're going to go downhill because they're going to either be pulling you downhill themselves, or their words and their deeds and the action, you're going to match their energy. So no, age shouldn't limit you. I mean, like I said, if anything, it should empower you to do everything you want to do.
Everything.
Everything. Oh, nobody, no answer.
But old age is still a report card, though. As you get older, it is a report card of all the things that you've done and the way that you've done them. How have you handled and managed your body? How have you handled and managed your relationship? How have you handled and managed your money? That's what says whether or not you're going to have a great time as you get older. It says, how have you managed the things that are most important? What are your opportunities, right? You can feel great, but if you can't do anything, go anywhere, buy anything, experience anything, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it is still a little, it is our report card that says, how do we step into this phase of life? Relationships, money, decision, y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Okay, final thing, Jerry, and we about to wrap up. This is a good one. Breaking free from narcissism. You kind of touched a little bit on that in the first time, episode 2 you was on here. So what do you think about that when you hear that?
They scare me. Right. And so I haven't seen, so I don't even know if she's still on, because that's definitely a question that I would have asked of Yolanda. Because when I think about a narcissist, right, I think of sociopaths and psychopaths, right? And just and I don't know that these are chosen behaviors. I think it's just the way that some of these people are wired. But if you can be around people who have to make themselves the center of everything, and want to succeed at everyone else's expense, they will feel no remorse for anything that they do. Is like, I don't know what to do with that, right? And again, you're not going to have a conversation with a narcissist and then they're going to change their behaviors, right? That's not going to happen. I don't know of any chemical medical treatments necessarily for them beyond therapy and maybe some behavioral modifications. But man, oh man, and I think some people demonstrate those sorts of behaviors, but they're not true narcissists. They're just operating in an unhealthy space. That's not really what they are.
Yeah.
They might be mimicking. They might be doing all that to keep certain things out of their purview, out of their circle, out of their out of their life, out of their energy. But man, those are the ones. Like and I wish I had all the answers to everything, but those, whew, and I've worked for a couple. It is not a pleasant experience
At
and
all.
and every single one of them have lost their families. Right, they're the ones that they did really well, so the wives don't always leave them, but these are the ones that have kids, and when their kids have kids, like, you can't be around my kids, like you can't even come over to visit, like, we don't want, like, that's, and again, how have you manage your relationships? And what a narcissist is typically going to do is just wreak havoc on relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
Right.
they are a different breed of people, man. And when you deal with them, it's like, and especially in a relationship, like you need counseling once you come out of that mud, because they do a job on you. They
They
do a
will
job on
do they will do a job on you. And I
you.
think a lot of them end up in the later stages of their life alone, which is appropriate, right? You've spent your entire life poisoning everything and everybody. What did you think was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna bury you because we can't just let you sit here and rot. But you ain't gonna worry about no big crowds at your funeral. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Ish. So, guys, this is the season finale of season 6, and this has been amazing. So, since Jerry took my question, and I have one more shirt that I'm going to give away here tonight. Thanks, Jerry, for stealing my question. But
my bad.
it was the purple shirt. You guys love that. So, the question I'm asking you guys is, what instrument did I say Jerry played in the very beginning? When I first came out and I introduced him, I said he played an instrument. What instrument did Jerry play? And that's a real simple one.
That's the
And
easiest
while,
question of the night.
yeah, that's the easy question of the night. So while we're doing that, this is season finale. We will not I won't return again until the end of June, the last Monday in June. That's when I will be back with you guys. But We have a lot of stuff already planned and working out for season 7 of the podcast. And just a quick note, starting this Wednesday, because everybody has been, I get a lot of requests all the time, like, hey, can I get your gear? Where can I get your gear? So I got with the person who designs my shirt, and we're going to do a Father's Day shirt, and it's going to be called the King Edition. And starting on Wednesday, you can order it on the site. I'll post it on social media where you can go get it. But it's a purple shirt with the gold logo, purple for royalty, gold for the king, for a king. And we're going to start doing that on Wednesday of this week. So check my social media out. But Jerry, thank you again. Where can they get your book?
Amazon. Everything's on Amazon. Principles of the LiveFree Lifestyle. Just look for my name, Jerry A. Thompson. You can search it out there. So there is the book. There's the workbook. He looks like a drummer. Actually, that's one of the first instruments I played. So thank you for saying I look like a drummer.
Yeah, but that's not the instrument.
Yeah, I went from there. Actually, my very drum was technically my first instrument, but then I did the violin for a little bit. I played all the brass instruments. See, what is Quee saying no to? She's hilarious.
I guess she just
she said no.
She's getting distressed because
and it's funny because there's a set of drums sitting like literally right here, just right to my left. But my studio's there. There's stuff. I'm not gonna. Man, that was it. That was way at the beginning. How people?
Yeah, that was way at the beginning.
See, John Patrick, send me a
T-shirt.
Not playing with you.
Okay, Quee, we'll make it happen for you. We will make it happen for you.
Quee just get what Quee wants. Quee like, look, I'm tired of this foolishness.
Okay, so Jerry, where can we get your book and everything?
Right, Amazon. So Amazon, Principles of the LiveFree Lifestyle. There's the book, the workbook. There's the LiveFree Evolution, but there's also my golf book. So if you are a golfer, a golfer who's trying to improve the Ultimate Weekend Warrior Scoring Blueprint. So thank you, Quee. Thank you so much. Yeah, dude. So thanks for having me on. There's a next thing coming. I started on this AI course that I just haven't finished. It really just needs editing, but I think the AI is one of the next big things we have to pay attention to. If you don't, you will wish that you had. So one day you'll do a technology episode and we'll talk a little bit about that. If people don't know, I am at heart a technologist. That's kind of how I came up in my career.
Yeah, we should definitely. We may have to schedule one during the off time because AI is like really taking over, man. I mean, it is like
people have no idea. They are unprepared. They're not paying attention. But this is the tsunami that is coming for everybody. Before you could target some things, it's like, oh, it'll take out, lower class, middle class. Like this is going to be indiscriminate, right? This is going to be like Thanos snapping his fingers. You're just going to see people's jobs and their livelihoods disappear. And I don't say that to be an alarmist. I'm saying that the thing that's happening is usually all these things are in the back room somewhere. We can't get to them. So there are things that are happening in the back room. They're happening at scale. But the number of tools that you can get in your hand for just a small amount of money, it's incredible how much you can do. And like OpenAI just put out videos of a new one coming out where you are literally having conversations with this thing. But John, what's so crazy is it's interacting with you. So you can show it like a video or take a picture or something, and it's going to have a whole conversation with you about it. Like you just go to OpenAI and look at some of these new videos that are out. Like Sora's coming out. Sora's doing like HD high quality video. A lot of people in the field of making videos are going to be out of work. Sora is going to just eliminate a lot of that, right? So there's just more that we should be doing. And if you are an individual, a solopreneur, a small business operator, and you are not using AI in your business, you are making a mistake. It should be literally the next 4 to 6 or 10 hires that you make, right?
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean that unequivocally. I mean that absolutely, and it's so inexpensive to do. You think about the things that are gnawing at you, eating at you, that chew up your time. If it can be taught to someone else, then it can be automated. So you can create these assistants, these AI agents, these chatbots You can even equip them with your knowledge. You can equip them with your voice. You can equip them with your family. So many things that you can do, and it's so inexpensive to do. And because and let me just say this lastly, what I normally, when I'm coaching people for business, what I've said to people for so many years is, as an individual, you do not scale. I can't say that anymore. And I've said that for like 30 years. You as an individual do not scale. But with these tools, oh, you scale. You scale. You are 24/7. You are big. I literally just asked AI about a business idea that I had, saying I largely wanted to equip it with agents. And so tell me all the different roles that I need. And it created a list of 16 different assistants that I could create, or agents that I could create.
Oh, wow.
And they will operate my company. We can have that conversation another day.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
For those who are interested in such things.
Yeah, we're going to plan that probably in June. We'll do something in June. We'll do something special. But guys, thank you for supporting this season and so forth. And then I definitely want to give a couple of thank yous too before we go, because these people have made this season what it is. Yolanda Hargrove, the therapist, she designs my shirts. That's who does all my shirts every week. She does them for me. Kirby Harden, that's my brother. He's the one who did the intro for me. That music was written and performed just for the podcast. Leslie, you handled the chat. Titus, you were one of my sounding boards. Pat, sounding board, and Willie, a sounding board. So thank you guys. And Jerry, thank you for being amazing. And thank you for always coming on here, man. I love you, my brother, and I appreciate you.
It's all good. And it was Oregon, by the way, people. Oregon.
It was Oregon, Quee. It was Oregon. See, you just missed out on the shirt. It was Oregon.
Quee's still getting that shirt. Quee is still getting that. Quee, you getting that shirt. You getting that shirt, Quee.
You getting the shirt, Quee. You getting it just because Jerry said you're getting the shirt. So we're going to make it happen for you. All right, then, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we will see you guys at the end of June. Peace. Jerry, that was